Today on Dice to Pixels, we mourn the loss of the E3 conference.
No, we don't.
But at least it lasted longer than the day before did. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll start with E3. Huge shock to the world. It's dead and gone.
I just want to say...
Bring your mic closer.
I just want to say, I called this.
Yes.
I called this when we were talking about earlier in the year when when the ESA had said that they won't be doing E3 this past summer.
Well, you actually called it last time when they canceled it. You were like, I think it's dead.
It's dead, yeah.
And I said, maybe not. But yeah, I mean, you absolutely called it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, with everybody, well, and you had mentioned too with 4K YouTube. And,
yeah, the reasons why I thought that it was days were numbered.
Yeah, and Jeff Keighley and the Game Awards didn't help matters either. And plus his Summer Games Fest, like that they put on, that's also been like a new platform for a lot of the big three and a lot of indie developers to showcase their cool trailers and gameplay stuffs and all that great stuff. Like the E3, I had mentioned before, like logistically, it just during COVID, it wasn't possible.
Yeah, well, there was a handful of things about it, and they said some of them on their website, and some of them they didn't really touch on. I mean, the fact is, CES has been fucking them for a little while now. Mm-hmm. Like the gap between prosumer and professional has been shrinking for a while now. Not like the actual gap hasn't, but prosumer is really goddamn good. So there's a lot of people using prosumer hardware even in the professional sphere. And so E3 was kind of getting crunched by both ends. Yeah. And a lot of people talk about the gaming side. Less people are talking about like there was camera gear and stuff that was always at E3. And that stuff just, some of it's CES, some of it they're just having YouTuber there. Peter McKinnon, here's our new Canon camera. Make a video. It's better. We'll get more fucking attention from that than we will from E3. So,
yeah. Well, and because I don't know about like everyone, but what was really, really known was the gaming sphere because that stuff was easier to stream out. Whereas like you're going to get half or less the number of viewers watching something about cameras and stuff.
There was decidedly less interest in the fridges.
Yes.
But make no mistake, they were there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You mean it keeps all my food cold?
And they're still at CES, as far as I know. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so the ESA president and CEO Stanley Pierre-Louis told the Washington Post, quote, after more than 2 decades of hosting an event that has served as a central showcase for the U.S. and global video game industry, the Entertainment Software Association has decided to bring E3 to a close. We know the entire industry, players and creators alike, have a lot of passion for E3. We share the passion. We know it's difficult to say goodbye to such a beloved event, but it's the right thing to do given the new opportunities our industry has to reach fans and partners. I don't know how heartbroken people were to say goodbye to the event. Personally, I think growing up in the 90s, whenever E3 would come around, you'd always look forward to getting those video game magazines like the EGM and Game Pro when they had like their E3 coverage, because that's when most of the people would find out about the new game, in the late 80s too.
Well, it was only fairly recently that the public was even allowed in there.
Yeah. So reading about like I remember getting the EGM for the E3 coverage. I can't remember when, but it was before Castlevania 3 came out, and how like my buddy Jim and my brothers and we flipping through the pages and seeing like, oh man, holy crap, like this is gonna be so cool, and just that kind of coverage I really enjoy. You looked forward to as a kid anyway, and it was always one of those places where growing up, that's where you wanted to go. Like if you were big into video games, you wanted to go to E3, but you never could unless you worked in the industry.
Yeah, you had to have credentials.
Yeah, that changed. I'm not sure when it changed.
Well, it started changing a long time ago in terms of the number of people that could get credentials vastly expanded. Mm-hmm. But in theory, it was still a media-only event until like the year before the pandemic shut down.
Yeah,
something like that. It was pretty recent. Yeah. But before that, YouTubers were there, and
like I know there was employees for like Toys R Us that were there too, because one of my acquaintances, he had the opportunity to do that too when he worked at Toys R Us. And, it became a
pseudo public event
Yeah.
probably 15 years ago.
Yep.
But in theory, I think it was only an actual public. Like you could just buy tickets.
Mhm.
Just 4 or 5 years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
And that was because they were already hurting before the pandemic stuff.
Mhm.
And CES has, I think, always been
Mhm.
public because consumer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like another like just fond memory. Victor Lucas, who is the host for the Electric Playground, he used to do have some live coverage from the show, and they would have it on his show on the Electric Playground back in the day,
Mhm.
and that was really cool too. Just seeing it, all that stuff. I'm having like a lot of fond memories of E3.
Would you
So-
say you're sad to see it go?
Not particularly because, as we talked about before, like everything's
It
like,
ration its course.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
everything's evolved.
nostalgia
Yeah,
thing.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's
The thing that still surprises me a little bit is the Game Awards is such a shitty awards show.
Yeah.
That I can't believe that E3 didn't just turn into an awards show. Or at least try it for a year.
Maybe there was just people unwilling to attempt the change.
Yeah, I mean, possibly. And it also may just not have been lucrative enough to bother.
Yeah.
But
I wonder too if their reputation was kind of part of the reason as well.
maybe. I think E3 could have pulled viewership
Mhm.
if they had said, like, we're doing E3 awards this year and we're going to do it properly and it's not going to be the fucking Game Awards. I would have watched it.
I mean, yeah, like they already were having all of the trailers and everything, so why not bundle all of that together?
Yeah. It surprises me a little bit that they didn't try something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had an all digital event in 21.
Yeah, and I didn't really figure that they would do that again because it was not very successful,
No.
but I thought they would do something. Like I'm surprised. Kudos for wrapping it up and not beating that particular dead horse, but
Mhm.
at the same time I am surprised that they didn't try something.
Yeah.
Maybe they were already hurting so bad that they just
Could be.
couldn't see their way out
Yeah,
of whatever hole they may have been in.
It could be that E3 as like a subsidiary was like in debt and was
Yeah.
just like, fuck it, we'll wrap it up and we'll do something else.
I can definitely imagine that because they're not small events.
Yeah, and I imagine canceling the last event would have cost them a pretty penny in
Yep.
deposits and everything else. So yeah, that could be.
And
Could be that
considering
simple.
even before the pandemic, I think there was at least one of the big three that had. I think it was Nintendo.
Nintendo pulled out
Yeah.
early. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sony and Xbox pulled out too.
Yeah.
but that
was
but-
later. But like
but
most people agree that sort of Nintendo pulling out was the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
In reality, the beginning of the end was 4K TVs being widely available.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
Nintendo pulling out is sort of recognized
Yeah.
as the start of the fall.
yeah, so I mean, 20 years, like it's
It's not a bad run.
yeah,
For this day and age, most companies don't last that long.
which
Hell,
is
most companies don't last 1 year.
that's
so.
true. Which is more than I can say for the day before. What a fucking dumpster fire this shit was, dude.
Yeah.
So the developer, fantastic. When
was
they
not so fantastic.
very definitely not fantastic at all, and non-existent now. But when they first announced the day before, I remember those trailers, and I believe it was an Unreal 5 like kind of tech demo kind of thing. But the game looked great, but you kind of and as it got closer and closer, and they were just never showing anything, and then you started seeing little things here and there. Well, the alpha released last week or the week before, and was renownedly shit on because the promised game of a massive multiplayer online world in a zombie apocalypse turned out to be an extraction shooter,
Yeah.
and not a very good one.
That is such a huge pivot that like how
Yeah.
do you lie to people that way?
Yeah. So to give you a timetable here, the day before alpha launched, got review bombed on Steam. The developer announced that it was closing. They then decided to nuke their websites, YouTube, Discord, and even the CEO's Twitter account went blank. The day before then got removed from Steam. The publisher of the game, Mytona, promised full refunds for it, which before that, I think more than 50% of the people already got refunds for it.
Yeah, well, Steam's pretty good about
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
And the former developer Fantastic apparently continues to post updates through the Mytona page on their X page. This is some shitty stuff. And before Fantastic went dark, they made a tweet or an X or whatever the fuck they call it now. It's basically hashtag the day before, hashtag Fantastic, hashtag Mytona. Answer to those who ask for a refund, Mytona, and we're currently working with Steam to allow refunds for any player who chooses to request one, regardless of game time. Fantastic receives $0 and will receive nothing from the day before sales. They had a reply to this from somebody at Kybershot who said, unbelievable that you guys hyped this game up so much that this is the end result. You guys are an absolute disgrace to the video game industry. To which they replied, this was our first big experience. Shit happens.
Wow. That is incredibly dismissive.
Yeah. So this is weird because I feel like if anyone had looked into this properly beforehand, they would have kind of realized that this is where this was going.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's articles coming out from people who are saying like, I went to their offices and they don't actually have offices. It's like a virtual co-op working space, basically. Which in and of itself is not but at the same time, that's weird.
Yeah.
That you would have your business address as a virtual co-op working space. That's a bit of a red flag.
Yeah.
So
wait, can you even do that with a business license?
Yeah, well, it depends on the country, but yeah, in general, I mean, typically, if you're doing something like that, you would just have it at a lawyer's office or something, which is not like if that were what they had found, it'd be like, yeah, okay, that's kind of a standard practice in a lot of cases for both legitimate and illegitimate businesses. But yeah, like it had some red flags before. I just don't know why they launched it at all.
I was just going to say the same thing. Like, why would you release it at all?
Like you knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
What did you think people weren't going to notice?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like the build up, the lead up to this. I mean, my gaming clan, the one we're in Forever Gaming, there was a thread posted by a couple users there that just the timeline of when they announced it and just all the shit that the information they weren't giving you at all, and then the alpha dropped and it was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And apparently, too, just reading here, some people have already spotted that this development studio has already attempted to rebrand itself as 8 Points on Kickstarter, Steam, and on other platforms. That's fucking dirty, dude.
That is sketchy as shit.
Sure. Yes. It's not uncommon, but it is super sketchy and gross. Yeah.
Like, sure, maybe you had to pivot from whatever the zombie survival into extraction shooter. Why not just say, hey, we've had to pivot at some point, at any point?
Because their credibility was already dog shit anyway. Like they never really gave any concrete info on what, apart from saying that it's an MMO, a post-apocalyptic zombie survival game.
But in fairness, those two things had to be linked, right? Like they obviously at some point stopped making an MMO if they ever even started.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were, for some reason, to your point, Sarah, they were trying to keep up this facade.
Yeah.
When what they should have done was just dropped it and been like, yeah, we're not going to show you a beta or an alpha of an open worlder because we're not fucking making that anymore.
Yeah.
Here's what we're actually making.
Yeah.
Then people, there'd be the population of people that are like, well, this is bullshit.
Sure.
But then there's other people that are like, okay, well, maybe this will still be good and interesting and something I'm into.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, until money changes hands, you have no actual reason to be angry.
Exactly.
So it's very strange. I don't get it.
I wish I was a fly on the wall for whatever conversations happened for all of these decisions to be made.
Yeah. Like you want to feel like it's just a few people trying to scam and thought that they might get away with some money.
Mm-hmm.
But there's easier ways to scam people. Like this doesn't, I don't know, maybe this isn't strictly illegal what they did, but it feels like it is. if you're gonna scam people, just there's such easier ways to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that a game developer is overpromised on a game and then not delivered.
Well,
But-
overpromised is
Yeah.
one thing.
Yeah. But you look at, well, this is a very poor example, but I mean, No Man's Sky with what they said that No Man's Sky would be. It is that now.
Yeah, like they lied and they got roasted over it
Mhm.
quite correctly.
Mhm.
But they didn't.
But it was in the right category.
I was gonna say, like,
Yeah.
they said it was like an open world, go to different planet game. You got that, not the same level of stuff that they said.
Well, the only
Um,
thing that they really actively lied about was the idea that you could go, if you went to the same spot in the universe,
Yeah,
you'd see other people.
Exactly,
That was a
yeah.
straight up lie.
yeah.
They just didn't think people would find it that quickly.
Yeah.
And I'll have you know, it's an open universe.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right. Yeah, Sarah's got it. I don't blame her. It's a very weird. It'll be interesting to see this as it develops because I'm sure people will dig into it more. But it's just such a weird story. It reminds me, totally off topic, and I'm not going to go into it because it's a long story. But it reminds me of the pigeon scam. I'll tell you two about it later, but Google, I'll give you like the quick synopsis so you can find it and read it yourself. There was basically a guy who was breeding racing pigeons, and it looked a little bit like a Ponzi scheme of breeding racing pigeons, except that the guy never got like rich or anything. It almost just looks like he couldn't add. It reminds me of that, where it was like, this is, as a scam, this is such a terrible scam. What the fuck were you thinking? So like, are you just a moron?
Yeah. Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of that, where it's like, I don't get what this was going to be your scam. Yeah. The Pigeon King. That's right.
Yep.
It's weird. I'll be interested to hear more as it develops, because fucking weird.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
And again, like personally, it was one of the, I'm kind of done with MMOs in general.
Sure.
But it was one of those things where like, yeah, the trailer looked really good, but I really, I was like, but just a lot of the assets that they used, they were just.
Yeah. Don't pre-order games.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No.
You know who else is done with MMOs though too?
Me. Wait, who?
Naughty Dog.
Yeah.
Oh.
Naughty Dog has canceled their Last of Us multiplayer game that apparently was supposed to be released with Last of Us 2 or sometime in like 2020-ish. They've been working on it for a few years, and then they were like, nope, not doing this no more. When they realized, hey, we need to provide support after release for years. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Good.
Right? Like, thank you for canceling it before launch instead of abandoning it after launch. At the same time, did nobody think of this before you started the project?
Right. Right.
Perhaps hire some better project managers. I don't know. Like, that's really dumb. But thank you for not launching it.
Yeah. I mean, sure that the world could have been an interesting spot for, massively multiplayer online stuff, but I mean, the game, I don't know.
I'm also always a little confused when situations like this one specifically. There's only been a few, but I feel like this is a position where they could have just added bots to flesh out the numbers to a certain extent and just released it as a local multiplayer.
Huh.
Like, how many people would you really need online at any given time to make it an MMO type experience?
Mhm.
And how good a game would it have been if you could play it with your 4 buddies on the couch, but with like a handful of bots running around being PC and non-NPC PCs? It's like, they're still AI, but they're not. Because AI can be pretty decent on today's consoles without killing the game, and PC is even less of a problem. So I would have explored it, and maybe they did.
Yeah, maybe what they wanted they just couldn't do.
Yeah,
I do. I respect the decision.
Oh, me
honestly.
too. Yeah,
like,
me too.
And even there's the comparison here is like they didn't want to become like a solely live service game studio. kind of, well, Bungie is an example, right?
Yeah.
Who've been basically Destiny 2 for a long time now.
Yeah.
They wanted to continue being that studio that focused on like single player narratives.
Yeah.
That they're well known for. I mean, the Jack series, the Jack and Daxter series, the Uncharted, The Last of Us. Like.
No, I respect the decision, and like I say, like, thank you for canceling it before you released it instead of after.
Yep.
Also, we don't need any more fucking multiplayer games.
Well, we need a
not in
lot
that
more
vein.
multiplayer games, but not like online multiplayer.
Yes.
We need couch co-op.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know. We won't, I'm sure, but I'd be interested to know sort of what avenues they looked down before deciding to cancel it. Because it's a lot of code, presumably, and a lot of assets to cancel. Now it's Last of Us, so presumably they'll still reuse a lot of that stuff. But
yeah,
I guess they didn't want to devote the manpower to something like that.
No, for sure. But like my point about the local multiplayer is wouldn't have required any service to run. That would have just you code in the bots and you're done.
Yeah.
The only question is, would it still have been a good game? And maybe not. It's hard to say. But I would be curious if they looked into that at all. Or maybe they just said, fuck it, we'll just reuse this world and all of these assets for the next Last of Us and call it a day.
I mean, that would probably make the most sense.
That's probably what they did. So
yeah.
So some studios still do have some sense of decency. That's good.
Thank you.
Just not the day before.
Nope.
Yeah. Fuck. God. Yeah.
So tell me about these bans from Dota.
Yeah. So Valve, I guess with their normal things, whatever their Christmas holiday, whatever they call it in that world, they give out free little assets or whatever in the game.
Sure.
No big surprise, whatever. So I guess there is this thing called smurfing. Any Dota players, I guess, will know what it's called. But basically, it involves high level characters or like players that create low level characters just to fucking screw with all of the baby, like the noobs and all of the other low level characters. And so they're considering it a form of cheating.
Yeah, smurfing is playing on a secondary account to bypass the game's skill-based matchmaking rules.
There we go.
Okay.
That. And so all of these people that have been doing it, they've been keeping track of them for the last while, and their special gift that they were given was a lump of coal.
A highly toxic lump of coal.
And a ban.
Cool.
A permaban.
Both the account that they are smurfing with and their main account.
Huh.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. In the article that I put here through PC Gamer, they've done this a few times. Not this specific like way of banning people, but the way that they've gone about banning people. Like they're always quite inventive and they're really good about it. It seems. And one of the ways that they did it was people were more or less reporting themselves as being cheaters.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, this is interesting. I don't get smurfing. I mean, I'm reading what it is, and I'm sure it's infuriating, and they're more than welcome to ban whatever behaviors they deem fit. That doesn't seem like something that would normally be against the ruls. You're just creating a new account, but whatever. Like I'm not a Dota player, so my opinion is worthless. But that just seems like an odd thing to ban. But hey, great, and it's hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm on board.
And then probably whatever other types of cheaters that are.
Yeah, well, it did say the message that they were getting. It did say is you were banned for smurfing or violating other.
Yeah,
I do love Valve's carefully written update that they did for this.
Yeah,
and it said, quote, "There's no sense denying it. King Kringle knows. He's checked your behavior score twice, and he's coming with his ban hammer to pulverize the Smurf accounts of all the naughty boys and girls before handing out penalties to their associated main accounts."
Yeah. Which is cool. Like I said, like I don't. Well, okay, actually, that makes slightly more sense. Banning the Smurf account and punishing the main account makes more sense than banning the whole thing outright.
Yeah. I probably just misread it.
Yeah. Well, and some of them may have gotten banned too. It's hard to say. Like I say, I don't get why that's against the rules, other than it's a shitty behavior, which fair game.
Yep.
But I don't play Dota, so fuck me, right? I don't care.
Same. It's one of those.
I know that is hilarious.
Yeah, I know it's hugely popular. I've never, not my style. So.
On that note, for anyone who plays things like Idle Champions, in my case, I'm going to sign back into Tibia. There are various MMOs and otherwise World of Warcraft. If you've got a 7-day trial kicking around, 'tis the season to drop in and grab whatever Christmas gifts they are mailing out to their player base.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, all that it requires is for you to log on or around Christmas. And if you ever think you might go back to the game, it's nice to have a bunch of limited edition items. So.
Do either of you have any favorite holiday things that were in games at all? Like not even specifically like this holiday season, but throughout the year?
Yeah. So Tibia.
Yeah.
I always go back to Tibia. Their Christmas update one year was adding the North Pole with Santa's Workshop and the whole 9 yards. And there was a whole quest line for it and everything.
Nice.
And they added the same update. They added snowballs, which were ranged weapons that did 0 damage. So you could just huck them at people. It was like a really, really solid Christmas update. It was back when Tibia was still like kick ass. These days they've kind of gotten away from what made them amazing, but that Christmas update in particular, there was a whole quest just before that about like the postmaster. You could become the postmaster general or whatever.
Yeah.
And it got you like access to mailboxes around the world and everything. And then the next step of that quest was basically like delivering letters to Santa.
Yeah.
And
that's cool.
It was great.
Yep.
Yeah. And then the items that came from that quest and everything else.
Yeah, Destiny and Destiny 2 had I can't remember what it's called now. It was their Christmas.
Yeah.
I can't
Was
think
it
of
Festival of Spirits?
No, it wasn't. I'm gonna have to look this up. But they have their thing like every Christmas.
Yeah.
No, Dawning. The Dawning. Sorry.
Oh right, yeah.
So it was pretty cool. They'd have like these little sections where you could go and pick up a snowball, and if you threw it at another player, it would slow them, so they couldn't sprint. They were just really slow for a few seconds, and they usually had some seasonal armor that you can get, and they'd have certain weapons or whatever, and ships and all that fun stuff. It was okay. I'm not going to go. I'm sorry, Bungie, but I'm just not gonna play it. I'm not interested anymore this year.
No, it's only for games that you think you might actually jump back.
The other one though, and it was more or less like all the time, but I'm pretty sure the first Division game, the world of New York that you were in was basically Christmas all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it was was it just before Christmas or was it between Christmas and New Year's? I will look this up.
It was around Christmas time, like that whole section of New York was set in.
Mm-hmm.
So that was okay. Thankfully, you didn't have to fucking tolerate like Christmas music and all that shit.
Oh my god!
Jesus.
Yeah, fuck that nonsense.
Yeah. Other than that, I usually like I just associate like ice levels or shit like that.
Sure, yeah.
You know,
World of Warcraft always has, or at least always used to have fun festivals.
Mm-hmm.
They were pretty well put together.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all things considered, all of the fireworks and everything that they would add, and the like game ticket things and all that. Fun stuff.
My favorite in World of Warcraft was always Halloween.
Yeah. Halloween definitely was the best
so
of them.
Good.
Yeah.
Especially if you had a low level character, but also had all of the flight points because you could go around trick or treating and you gain XP from it. So I gained like 3 levels one year just trick or treating.
Yeah. Blizzard, the World of Warcraft team does celebratory events. They do a great job.
Oh yeah, I liked Destiny 2. They did their Festival of the Lost, which was their Halloween thing, because their armors were always, it was cool. They were always fan voted. They gave you like specific options to vote for, and whatever the fans voted on, that's the one that would be featured that year. And you had like the big anime robots one year, like Frankenstein, Dracula, and the werewolf another year, and dinosaurs, and it was clever. And but the event that you did with that, you were basically being chased by like a. It was called the Infinite Forest, or the Haunted Forest, and it was just to see how far you can get like into it.
Yeah.
But you always had this one headless kind of horseman guy that was unbeatable, and he was always chasing, and he'd fucking kill you in one shot. But it was fun. It was a good mode, and I did like it when I played it.
Fair enough.
But what about, so yeah, you said WoW and stuff,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it's really the only game I've ever played that has like a holiday thing.
Yeah.
Did Diablo ever have like a?
Yeah, they did. The Diablo 3 had some stuff. I don't think it was every year though, but I definitely remember there being Christmas themed Diablo stuff.
I know they have one this year for Christmas in Diablo 4.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
Diablo 4 absolutely will.
Yeah, the Midwinter Blight Christmas event.
Yeah, I can't remember what Diablo 3 was, but I'm sure there was. I'm like positive that there was Christmas themed stuff.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. So anyways,
Like
friendly reminder to jump into any games that you go back and forth on, because they might be doing Christmassy stuff.
Get that free swag.
Yeah, I mean,
Hell
why
yeah.
not, right?
Or free drops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the nice thing about like Tibia and World of Warcraft. Like you just log in and it's in your mailbox. You don't have to do anything for them. I mean, you can also get other stuff by doing more work, but
Yeah, that's good.
That's
good. So, do we want to shit on some awards?
yeah, we're gonna
Yeah, let's shit on
we're gonna
some
shit on awards.
Too much positivity in the last 5 minutes.
So two
Yeah.
things. One, we're gonna do our award show. I think we decided next week.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll probably come back to depending on how long we're shitting on awards for. We'll come back to a couple other things
It's pretty close.
afterwards.
Yeah, it's pretty close to the end of the year, and we're pretty sure there isn't going to be any amazing new releases within the last week or two.
No, technically we could wait until December 30th, but I think we're probably okay to do it next
Yeah.
week. Yeah. So Sarah, you found this one. So
Yeah. So apparently in the 2023 Steam Awards, Starfield has been nominated for the most innovative gameplay.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think people know what that word means.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. Gameplay or innovative.
It is exactly like every other fucking Bethesda game.
Yeah, it's just Skyrim.
And Fallout.
Yeah, very similar to all of them. It's
Well, even Remnant 2. Like,
well, and like I know that this is fan selected, and so this is largely skewed by the number of people who played it.
Mhm.
But there were actual innovative games. Like I would argue that Moon River was
Moonring?
yeah.
was far closer to most innovative gameplay.
Mhm.
I don't know if it was, but it was far closer than fucking Starfield.
Well, even the one nominee that they have here, Shadows of Doubt. I think, like, to me, that's probably the most innovative one because it was
Of their nominees, yeah.
yeah, because it was like you were a detective, and it was like a stealth kind of crime solving game. It's really good. It's hard to explain. It's one of those games where you have to play it just to kind of get the gist of it. But it was
Sure.
really freaking good.
Yeah, and hey, like Starfield was fun. I didn't dislike Starfield. I played a bunch of it, but it was not fucking innovative in
no.
any way.
No,
I mean, I'm looking at the trailer for Your Only Move is Hustle. If that doesn't win, there is something wrong with people. It's literally just it's fine-tuning your fighting skill and turn-based combat where you can slow things down, speed things up.
Oh, okay.
It is wild. I would never play this. This is not my style of game, but it's like super. It looks like it was done in MS Paint. Like literally, it is
Sure.
not pretty, but it's like an aesthetic pretty.
it has like that Undertale kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and at the end of the day, if it's a gameplay award, the graphics shouldn't matter.
No,
So
but like what it is I think it's pretty unique. Like I don't think there's too many other games that allow you to figure things out with this level of detail.
yeah, for sure.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. So at least these are fan voting.
Fan nominated.
Well, I think they're both,
It's
Both.
right?
fan
Yeah,
They're
both.
vote. Yeah.
they're fan nominated in theory, and they are fan voted, which is good. And unlike the fucking Game Awards, they actually wait until the end of the year, which is
Yeah.
nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there's some of these that I don't know who the fuck voted for them, like Diablo 4 on Steam Deck we were talking about. Diablo 4 isn't the best game on any platform, so it's not the best on Steam Deck.
No.
Yeah.
I'm annoyed that Last of Us Part 1 is on Best Soundtrack. I don't care if it had a re-release this year.
Yeah, that's
It
pretty
is
dumb.
not a 2023 game.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, and like Red Dead Redemption 2 is in the Labor of Love Award, which it's like, that's not a 2023 game. What
Yeah.
the fuck? But so is Apex Legends, which is also, and Dota 2, and Rust. It's like, these aren't.
Overwatch
Now, in fairness,
is on here.
in
Overwatch
fairness,
2.
I'm reading this and it's saying that the Labor of Love, the game has been out for a while and the team is well past the debut, but they're being good parents. So, okay, fine. But if that's the case, I don't know. What about all of the other games
Yeah.
that are being updated? Like fucking, why is Half-Life not on here?
Right?
Well, I mean, Cyberpunk 2077 won the best ongoing award at the Game Awards, and it's not like.
Sure.
But I'm also too. Again, this. At least these are all games that are.
This is the fan base
Yeah.
making stupid choices, not Valve, presumably. So fair enough. But yeah, like if we're talking about a game that's past their debut and is still getting love, then fucking I want to see Half-Life and nothing else be nominated, because they're still fucking updating it. What, 20 goddamn years after its release?
Yeah.
So yeah, VR game of the year. I mean, whatever. We all know that the only VR game worth playing. Actually, no, F1 23 is on here, and it's actually probably really good. I was gonna say the only VR game worth playing is Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. But
Yeah.
I'd say Half-Life Alex as well.
Sure. But F1 23 is actually probably really fucking good.
Yeah, that
VR,
probably would be really good.
because you don't have to move around. You're sitting in a car.
Yep. A lot of love for
my
Hogwarts. A lot of love for Hogwarts Legacy.
Yeah, and I just saw, I don't know what you were oh my godding about, but I just saw that FC 24 is in Game of the Year.
Yeah. No, I
Right?
was oh my godding about VR game Gorilla Tag, which like I understand the silliness of it, but oh my god, it looks like
Horrible, yeah.
it looks terrible.
Yeah, it looks like pre N64.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, FC 24 being Game of the Year shows it shows something about the people that are nominating these.
I mean, it does show that it's user-based nominations for
Yep.
one.
Yep.
And it's a wildly popular. I mean, soccer/football it's a wildly popular sport, probably the most popular sport in the world. So like, I get it, but
Yeah.
Game of the Year,
Right. Like, arguably it's, multiplayer, I guess. Like lots of people sink like thousands of hours into those games multiplayer. So, okay, I guess.
Mhm.
But I mean, come on, it's a football game. How different is it from the last 17?
I like this best game you suck at award. So like Overwatch, I'm not even going to acknowledge with this one, but to me, like it's Sifu, because as a single player game, Sifu is fucking hard, but it is so good. It's one of those games where once you discover all the nuances in the controls and how and like the gameplay and all that and how to like dodge, and it's great. It is freaking great. Like this is one of those games where it looks good artistically, but the gameplay is just so damn good. But also Street Fighter 6 is another one where if you're playing multiplayer, like, and a lot of these guys that play Street Fighter 6 are insanely good with this game, they will mop the bloody floor with you.
Yeah, well, that's why it's best games you suck
I
at.
know. That's why I'm saying, like,
Yeah.
like that's your two finalists, because I'm like FC 24. I'm not gonna bother with this. Like, again, it's soccer. Like, but
I'm just trying to remember which game it is that I played and couldn't get my shit sorted out in. I wanted to say it was For the King, but it's not.
I wouldn't think it'd be For the King because that's a turn-based game.
Yeah, no, it was the crazy one that was I can't even remember what it was called. I'll come up with it sooner or later. But there was a game this year. I don't think it came out this year though. That's why I was trying to find it. I sucked at it. I was not good at it. I abandoned it like a little bitch. But yeah, what's a game that you just kind of gave up on, either because it was hard or you just didn't like it?
Oh man, that's
Diablo
this
4.
year?
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
well,
fair
no,
enough.
no, because I finished.
I know.
No,
I'm
yeah, that's-
saying
oh, yeah,
I
yeah,
gave
yeah.
up on the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, that's true.
Good
Yeah.
call. Good call.
Oh man, that's a tough one. I'm trying to think of like.
You're terrible for muscling through stuff that you don't enjoy for some reason.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm old and stubborn.
I
So.
was
Yeah,
gonna
no
say,
kidding.
Stubborn man.
Oh man, holy crap.
Until you continually yell at it so much that I force you to delete it.
See, there's been some games where I've started them, but then I stop playing them
Yeah.
because either something else comes out or I'm preoccupied with something, right?
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 16 was one where I started and I enjoyed that game. It's a great game. I really need to reinstall it to play the DLC that just came out, but it was one of those games that I started playing it and then I stopped because something else came out and I can't remember what.
Mhm.
But then I ended up, I had just finished it like probably a month ago. And only because at the time I had nothing to play and I had remembered that, oh shit, I'm near the end of Final Fantasy 16. I got to finish it.
Right.
Straight up give up on. God. Oh, Atlas Fallen.
Yeah.
Atlas
Okay.
Fallen.
All
I
right,
got
all
that.
right.
I started, it looked good. Like the trailer, again, this is another one where the trailers look good and all that fun stuff. But it was, actually, I got two, sorry. I got to think of the other one. But
Atomic Heart.
Okay,
well,
yeah,
to be fair,
we did give up on that because it was bullshit.
yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't even bother.
Yeah, it was terrible.
But when I got into Atlas Fallen, right off the bat, the gameplay felt like 2010, like
Mhm.
like early 2000s to me.
Right.
It felt like it should have been on like the 360, the PS3 era. Like it had that kind of just Gears of War-ish kind of feel. Well, not even Gears of War, like just
It was clunky.
an old clunky,
Yeah.
like kind of weird game that had this like sand skiing mechanic. But even the combat felt kind of weird and off. Like I wasn't too big on it, and it just got to a point where I was like, man, I didn't care about the world. I didn't care about the characters in it. I didn't give a shit about what I was doing in the game, and I was just, I'm done.
Yeah. I realized why I couldn't find that other game. It's because I bought it on Good Old Games, not Steam.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I'll figure out what it is eventually. But I will say, I don't think it was this year, but Morris Cave, I never got very good at it. It's fun. I like
Yeah.
it, but I never got good at it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the other one that it came out in 22, but I played it in 23. It was called Evil West, and it was you were like a cowboy. It was like in the West, but there was you were a vampire hunter, and that was another one that felt like it should have came out on the 360 PS3, and it was just dog shit. It was garbage. I got a few missions into it, and I this one actually felt like Gears of War, but not good. Like Gears of War was actually a good game. This wasn't. It was shit. So, yeah, that was another one I gave up on.
Fair enough. What about you, Sarah?
I mean, I dip in and out of games so often that it's like, I mean,
Come
have I
on
gotten
now.
angry at and just stopped playing?
All right. Well, in your case, what have you actually finished?
Ooh.
Alan Wake 2,
Okay.
Control.
Yeah.
I've finished a good number of games. I also just play games that have such a long gameplay loop that they don't really have an ending necessarily. Like a lot of cozy games don't really have an ending. There's some that do, some that don't, but yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. I finished what's a game that has no ending? I finished World of Warcraft.
Wow.
Twice.
Yeah, twice. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I finished Spore.
Yeah. Not Everspace.
EverQuest?
No, not EverQuest. What's that other big space? That big
Eve.
big.
Eve
no,
Online?
not Eve. The one where you have to buy your starships and shit.
Oh, Star
Oh.
Citizen.
Star Citizen.
Yeah.
That's it, that's it.
Yeah, no, I've been pretty bad about finishing games this year. Actually,
Well, you finished Hogwarts
finished Hogwarts.
and you finished Diablo 4.
Oh, I didn't finish
Yeah.
that.
The story.
Yeah, I
story
finished
in
the
Diablo 4.
story, and I think I finished both cap dungeons.
Yeah.
So that's kind of finishing. I never hit level 100 though.
Yeah.
So no, maybe I didn't finish the second cap dungeon. I don't remember.
And Stray. Stray was last year.
Stray was last year.
Mhm.
I finished Creeper, the Creeper game that I was playing, the Creeper 3 Arc of Eternity. It was pretty good, actually. There's a new 3D version of it, like Creeper 4 is out. I might actually give it a whirl. I haven't finished Mob Factory, although at some point I don't know if it's a finishable game, but at some point I'm going to play it some more because it was cute.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what else I've actually finished recently.
I have a fucking list.
Yeah, well, you like start a game and you fucking finish.
Yeah.
I finished Rogue Tower.
Something else you finished, Incremental Epic Hero 2.
Yeah, you actually did. Yeah.
That's true, actually. Now they've been updating it again, so that's no longer true. But at the time, I did finish it. That's true.
What was that one that you did you finish the one that you played that the developer made a comment on on the YouTube video?
Oh, that's Mob Factory.
Mob Factory, right.
I didn't finish it. I was enjoying it. I kind of got really busy with the market and everything else, and I never got back to it. It's a good game. I mean, I recommend it. I think it was pretty cheap when I bought it. The dev commented on that video, and I commented back and said like, yeah, it's a great game. Like, good job. I've only played a handful of hours in it, and I should play some more because I was enjoying it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you finish that game. Like, I think it's sort of endless as well. I think it's kind of like Factorio that you can't really. I mean, technically, Factorio has a win condition, but that's sort of just the start of the game.
Yeah.
I don't. There's got to be other games that I've finished, but I can't remember what they are.
Yeah.
Well, Wingspan, I finished many times.
Yeah. Did you finish Everspace 2?
Maybe. I finished Starfield for sure.
Starfield, yeah.
Yeah, I think I might have finished Everspace too.
Also finished Starfield.
Never finished Orc Massage.
No.
For shame.
No. Yeah. Since your list will take us the rest of the year, like what's your give us the top 3 games that you've finished this year.
Okay, Sea of Stars is instantly number 1.
Yeah.
I actually finished that 3 times on 3 separate platforms.
Fair enough.
The Cocoon.
Yeah.
Cocoon was another good one. That was a really, really good one that I finished. The Hi-Fi Rush, I finished that one. That was also a fun one. The Metroid Prime Remaster, I finished as well. Super Mario RPG Remake, I finished that one too.
Yeah, I haven't finished it yet. I'm savoring it. I am taking my sweet time.
It is so fucking good.
Oh, it's a great game. I didn't expect anything else.
The post-game stuff is, it's so much more challenging.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
But I am savoring that playthrough for sure. Because
such a good game.
It's been a long time waiting for that remaster. I am taking my time.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, Final Fantasy 16. I finished that.
Yeah.
Oh man, now I'm really
this fucking guy.
After Image.
Just knocking those games out,
right?
Man. I really should finish more games. I'm pretty bad. Well, I guess I played both Cat Quests this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They aren't new, but I played them both this year.
Yeah, there's so many more, and I just can't think of them off the top of my head.
Yeah. You finish games like you You are absolutely the quintessential gamer where like you buy a game and you fucking like Spider-Man. I'm sure you finished.
Oh, Spider-Man
Oh, yeah.
2. Yeah, I
Yep.
finished that. Spider-Man 2.
You
God of War
pick up a game
Ragnarok.
and you finish it.
God of War Ragnarok. I finished that. Platinum that bitch.
Sarah and I pick up a game and play it for like 7 hours and still don't even like make it through the fucking tutorial.
Yeah.
So bad for that.
Yeah. God. Oh man. Super Mario Wonder. I think. Well, I'm still playing that Super Mario Brothers
Yeah.
Wonder. I'm about halfway through that, and that's fun. That's giving me like the old school Mario vibes, where it's like when you die in a level, it's your own damn fault.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about picking it up.
It's fun. I have
because
it.
it actually, yeah, I might just borrow it
Yeah.
once you're done with it. Because it actually feels like a proper Mario game from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Mhm.
As
It's-
close to one that they've made.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It's I like that old school Mario game kind of feel.
Oh yeah, it's the only Mario. Like I liked Mario 64 because it was new at the time. Like it was cool.
Mhm.
But I wouldn't play it now. Like it doesn't hold up. Whereas I'll still play Super Mario 1
Yeah.
any day. I love it.
I do wish that Konami would come out with like an old school kind of Castlevania game, but with a modern kind of art style, like a 2D game,
Yeah.
kind of like what Sega's doing with Shinobi.
Yep.
Right, like give it like give it a unique, like a cool art style, but it's a 2D game where you're going through levels, not like you're just free roaming through Dracula's castle. It's levels, like the old classic, like Castlevania 1, 2, or Castlevania 1 and 3.
Isn't that game you kickstarted and play? Oh God, it's
Risk of Rain.
No, the other. No, maybe you didn't back the Kickstarter, but there was a release of a shorter game before the major
Oh,
one.
Bloodstained.
Yeah, Bloodstained.
I didn't back it, but they did like a
Yeah,
yeah
but-
they did like that.
Yeah,
but with
yeah.
with instead of having the retro kind of graphical style, give it like a modern, like a hand drawn art style or something like that, right?
Yeah, just something fresh.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. And
Yeah.
actually, speaking of hand drawn art style, I just wanted to bring this up. There's a trailer out right now for a game called Mouse. They showed early gameplay of it. It's a first person shooter, but the entire game is like a black and white old 1930s 40s like kind of cartoon. It looks almost Disney, like a Disney cartoon. And man, you got to check out this gameplay trailer because this looks really, really cool. And similar to how Cuphead had that, like you were playing a cartoon from like, the early 40s, 50s. This one looks really, really cool, and it's slated for a 2025 release date. But watch this trailer; it's really, really cool.
It's a very interesting art direction. Yeah, I don't know if I would enjoy the game, but it is undeniably cool.
Yes.
Yeah, it looks neat.
That was one thing that always has annoyed me about Cuphead is I love that art style so much. So bad at that game.
It's hard. Yeah, it's a hard one.
so ridiculously hard.
That's what's so beautiful. That's what's so good about it.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's why it is so widely
Yeah.
popular. But
Yeah.
I want more games that I can play that are that art style.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, we'll sign off soon.
We're
we
getting
don't-
there.
We don't need to kill it right at the hour mark.
Yep.
I picked up. I picked up a couple things. I picked up the Wingspan expansions
Yeah.
for the video game version of the board game.
Mhm.
So Oceania, and I picked up the European. I forget what they called it.
Europa?
No.
I don't know. I'll just look it up.
I don't know. I want to say it's European, but it might be Europa. Anyways, doesn't matter. I picked them both up because I hadn't bought either of them, and they're on sale aggressively on Steam right now.
Yes.
On everything.
On everything.
Yeah,
On
sorry, you were
everything.
right. It's European expansion.
I like it. I mean, I didn't expect otherwise, but I like that they added a few rules tweaks with the expansion that are optional.
Mhm.
Yeah, solid. Enjoyed that. I haven't played like a huge amount of rounds of it because I only picked it up yesterday.
Mhm.
But I also picked up yesterday The Hunter Call of the Wild, which is just like a hunting sim. You're dropped in a forest and you go around and kill stuff, and it's multiplayer and everything else. Only played a few minutes of it. Well, an hour or two probably. I think I could lose a lot of time in that game. It's very
Wow.
No,
What's
it's
that?
not WoW.
No, it's very pretty though.
Yeah, well,
Prettier
that's just
than
it.
WoW.
Like, I mean, it's sort of a walking simulator, but with, you know, the exhilaration of trying to actually peg a deer or whatever. Yeah, I see where your mind's going.
No. I was gonna ask, like, do you talk like Jimbo or when you're playing, you're like, no, I got one there, Jimbo. No, I'm gonna go.
No, but I might now.
I totally would.
So, do we need to get you a copy too, Chad?
It's very cheap at the moment.
Man,
What is it? $3 for the?
I mean,
for
it's
the main
free
game?
for now.
Ooh.
That's true. You can play it free right now, but I think the game was $3.
Yeah, it's 85% off
Yeah.
right now. Regular
I-
25.
I bought
Canadian.
the full set of expansions as well. I think was
15. Yep.
because one of the expansions came with a pupper friend, and I was like, well, I have to
Yeah.
have a dog if I'm hunting. Like, come on. But
Ooh.
it's
You
pretty,
got a
it's
weapon
cool.
pack that allows for like bows and crossbows and stuff.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. Well, that was the other thing. Like the expansions, given that each expansion is like what, like $1 or $2 at
Yeah.
that price, I was like, yeah, screw it. I'll just get all of them. I mean, I haven't played much of it, but it feels like the sort of game. It's very meditative. It's very relaxing. I see myself booting it up to waste time reasonably frequently.
Nice.
So
Right on.
those are the 2 new games that I've been checking out this week.
Cool.
I don't think I mean, like Super Mario RPG, but we knew that.
Mhm,
That's nothing new.
I just finished the Dead Space remake because it became available on Game Pass, so I said sure.
Mhm.
And ironically enough, you can buy the whole thing and the digital deluxe edition right now on Xbox, and it's like $10.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I beat that, but then I was playing Baldur's Gate 3, still playing Baldur's Gate 3, but I wanted to play through Alan Wake 2.
Mhm.
So I started playing that. Like, I cannot it looks fucking great. Like, there's
Yeah.
so many times where I've been watching that game and I'm like, wait, is this live action or is this, oh shit, this game? Oh my God.
Yeah, that was my overwhelming sense when I tuned in, because I can't play all of the new games that come out, but I do try and dial into a stream of them to get an idea of what they play like. And Alan Wake was like, I could watch that. Like,
Yeah.
I could jump into a stream and just hang out.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty conducive to that, and it's very pretty.
Yeah. It's
And
really
I'm gonna
good.
make that fucking sweater.
Yeah, it's really good. What about you, Sarah?
I've been playing a little bit of Baldur's Gate 3.
Yes, you have.
I dipped into that night market game that's on Game Pass right now.
Mhm.
Like normal, I only played a couple hours of it, but
As is tradition.
yep, as is tradition. But it is it's a cute little cozy game. You're making like crafts and stuff to sell at a night market fair and getting to know villagers. So it's pretty standard cozy game that way.
Yeah.
And then yesterday, Power Wash Simulator released their Christmas holiday free DLC room where you're
Yeah, I saw
cleaning Santa's workshop. So
Yeah, I thought I might check that out too.
yeah,
There's
it's a big
some-
room. There's
Some
lots of stuff.
messy fucking elves, man. They must have raves and shit in there because like all the multicolored fucking shit that's all over the walls. It's like
There is a story that goes with it.
oh.
That's just
Now
elf blood.
is it like a good story or is it like a Chad story? Like, some
Yeah.
shit I can come up with.
No, yeah.
No, it's
they-
not a Chad story.
They brought in the wood chipper and fed elves.
Ah,
into it,
perfect.
and then-
Jesus.
Nice. Instead of
Yeah.
blood, they just poof into sparkles.
Yeah, wow.
Well,
There's
that's the unicorns.
There's
all right. Okay.
blood too. So,
Nice.
well, blood is the wrong. It's more like isopropyl alcohol. So, like elves have glitter and isopropyl alcohol
Gotcha,
in their
gotcha.
veins,
Right.
but the alcohol evaporates off. So then glitter's left.
That's why the one was a dentist. Okay.
Yes, because that makes sense.
Yep.
Cool.
Heroes Hour. You may have noticed for the last like fucking 20 minutes, I've been kind of looking down while talking. I was trying to find the damn game, the game that I started and was terrible at. Heroes Hour.
Okay.
That's
Never heard of
the
it.
Fucking, it's the one that I got turned on to by the spiffing Brit. That's right.
Oh, right.
That's
okay,
right.
okay.
The spiffing Brit
Yep.
turns me on.
Mm.
Ooh.
and it's hard.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
this game. Okay.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, I bounced off of it, and I will play it again at some point. But I was not in the headspace to.
That level of complexity.
It's hard. Yeah.
Groovy. Alrighty.
So we will see you next week. We'll be doing the Game Awards, our Game Awards,
The
and
Diced Up Pixels
chatting
Game
about
Awards.
stuff.
The only game awards that really matter.
That's right. If you want to hear our opinion about things, which if you don't, why the fuck are you still here?
Right?
We will be talking about the games, everything we've played in the last year, and picking favorites, least favorites, all that stuff. And then that'll probably take up most of the next episode. And then New Year, not New Year's Eve, but the day before will be the final episode of the year.
Mm-hmm.
We might do something a little special for that. We haven't really discussed it.
Maybe we'll wear hats.
We'll probably wear hats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I won't be able. I'll probably wear this nice knitted sweater that the wonderful, beautiful, and talented Sarah made. I'm going to stand up just so you can see this pattern on the back of it.
Show us your junk. Show us your junk.
Is it there? You see it?
Up.
Up.
That close enough.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful wolf.
Yes.
So Sarah hand knit this. This is my Iron Banner sweater, as it became known as.
Yes. Sarah is going to be soon. She's going to be launching a website where you can commission and buy.
Yeah, commission, and some of the socks will be up there and other fun stuff.
Little potion plushies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's
Are
handmade.
you going to do some of the dicks too?
I'll probably end up doing some dicks. Yeah.
That's the ticket.
Who doesn't want
That's
a
the ticket.
magnetic fridge dick?
Fuck yeah.
Lesbian.
Wow.
Oh,
Might
actually,
still
they're
work.
still
they
fun
probably
to
wanted
look
to.
at.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just flick
You
them as you
flick
want.
them,
Yeah. Anyway.
We all did the same thing.
All right. On that
On that
note, we love you all. Sarah, do you want to?
Yeah. Tell us your favorite E3 memories
For sure.
and what you've been playing this week, what you're going to be playing, if you're getting any holiday time off. Maybe we'll see if we want to play it too. But yeah, thanks for joining us again this week. Like, subscribe, tell 3.5 friends.
We'll leave that up to your imagination.
Pick on the guy with no leg. Sure.
Hey,
Okay.
they need to know too.
That's true.
Cheers, everyone.
Love you.
Merry Christmas and all that.
Live long and prosper.